Did someone say of all time?
Well, this has been a debate that's probably gonna go for the rest of time, as we all know. It's like, oh, this is the best game. The Last of Us is a triumph of man. Red Dead Redemption 2 is like walking through tripe, but it's still great. And then God of War is just, you know, you like to bash people with an axe. But let's just take a trip all the way back to, I like to call the Attitude Era, you know, the late 90s, mid 2000s. And there's a little console called the N64. On there, this was on the PS1 as well, but on there was a little game called Glover. Now, Glover is a game where you play as a glove, and this glove's objective is to get this shiny crystal from one point to another. Look, I can't exactly remember why the glove is doing that, but I don't care, it doesn't matter. The point is you play as a glove with only 4 fingers rolling on balls. The thing is you can change your magical crystal into any sort of balls, you know, like you can be a bowling ball, so you'd be a really hard ball, you can be a nettle ball, because I think that has something to do with magnetism, you can be a bouncy ball. Like, you know, the ball on this cover bounces and it floats and you can run on the water. But the real thing is that the balls in this game were so good back then that I don't think any other N64 game had a game this sort of curved, because the balls were perfect and you played as a glove and it's called Glover the microphone has fallen out. And the fact that you can, they just got screwed over and we never got Glover 2. Why didn't we get Glover 2? Because Hasbro went and they got the big Nintendo. Yeah, mate, you want some more cartridges? So they bought double. So they made, like, let's say 2 billion copies of Glover, and there's still 1 billion out there waiting to be sold. So it's just like that ET game.
The best game of all time is one you can sink hundreds of hours into. You've got a big expansive world to play in. You've got many, many creatures to fight, resources to find, weapons to upgrade, and other players to interact with. And that game is Fallout 76.
Of course it is.
Truly a masterpiece of video game, because on paper, it's everything I wanted from a Fallout game. I loved Fallout 4 a lot for many, many reasons, but the one thing I thought it was missing was the ability to have my friends there, either to work with or work against. And when Fallout 76 was announced, I was very, very excited, and the game came out, and I loved it. I spent a lot of time with it, and I genuinely really enjoyed my time with it. And I think it's a title really worth looking at and playing a lot. And Wastelanders is coming out very, very soon. In fact, it'll be coming out in 5 days' time from when this comes out, so get excited for Wastelanders. Also that and Toy Box Turbos. Scott Telford's favourite game is also my favourite game, and also best game ever made.
They're going to think you're lying.
So the best game of all time, the very best game that you can get, is not actually a big single-player, evocative story that goes on for millennia that you can get so many hours of gameplay out of and get so much out of on and again and again. It's actually a short multiplayer system that you can do, because who doesn't like playing games with friends? Who doesn't love the multiplayer online experience? Not me, that's for sure. I love the multiplayer experience, and I love it the most in a little underrated game that is truly one of the heralds of our time, and that is Evolve. It is a fantastic game. It's just pure magic to play. You get to play as the monster, where you can go and attack people in this little this little troop and team of people that are trying to hunt you down. You can play as one of the people to hunt the monster. There's a variety of choices. There's paid DLC. There is all sorts. Now, Evolve truly is a great game. It might sound like I'm being sarcastic. I'm not. I love Evolve. It's a great experience, and it's a fun online thing that brought about the rise of Battle Royale. But the less said about that bit, the better, because the game itself is great. It's wonderful. And you can play as the Wraith, you can play as the Kraken, you can play as the Goliath, you can play as all sorts. It's still all burned into my memory, and I mourn its loss on the servers that then shut down, because it was before its time. It was truly a seminal piece of work that came out before its time and just deserved the world and got but a crumb of it. So that's your fault, guys. That's your fault. Go back and play Evolve. Bring it back. You owe it to yourself.
No, but seriously though, the best game of all time, there's actually quite a few to choose from, to be fair. I mean, you've got Bubsy 3D, Superman 64. Obviously, I'm just kidding. The actual real choice is Big Rigs Over the Road Racing, because this is paradoxically the best and worst game possibly ever made. Now, if you've never played it before, it probably won't sound like much. I mean, it's literally just big rig racing, and surprisingly, it's on a road, or so you'd think, because the game was programmed in an absolutely abysmal way, which means that you actually go faster reversing than you do going forward. And if you do go forward, you'll fall straight through the geometry of the entire track, so there'll be a bridge coming up. You won't even need to use it, you'll just go down underneath. And also, you always place first no matter what, because the AI gives up halfway throughout every single race. But the best thing is, as I mentioned before, the reversing speed, which was uncapped. Let that sink in for a minute. Uncapped reversing speed, which means that you could literally go as high as the mile meter could count in reverse. It was utterly ridiculous. You'd go out of the map and beyond into some sort of hellscape. But for the amount of fun that it gave me and how little I paid for it, yeah, probably is actually, bang for buck, pound for pound, the greatest game of all time. It's not really though. Probably Final Fantasy VI.
Well, scientifically, this has to be something that I've 100%ed, right? It has to be something that I clearly put so much time into, wasted so much, or used up so much of my life to make sure I saw every last piece of. So that means that the best game of all time is Lost via Domus. I think that came out in like 2005 at the height of Lost, back when I was absolutely loving that show. 4815162342.com was a great resource as well. And the game tie-in was just you played as this random dude who crashed on the island and he was a survivor, and you just kind of went around, you got to go to the hatch and you got to push the buttons in the keyboard and look at all those weird Egyptian glyphs and wonder what the hell's going on. You got to hang out with everybody from Locke to Jack to Michelle Rodriguez and everybody else, and then at the end, and it's the best ending ever, you are about to escape and you make like a raft thing. I haven't played it since like 2004, but it was really good, and you're about to leave and you're on the sea and you're like getting out there and you look up and what's in the sky but the plane that you were on crashing behind you. It makes no sense whatsoever, so it kind of ends how it starts, but I love that. That's great. That was a good thing. I definitely enjoyed that and didn't feel like I'd wasted all my time. But the best game of all time is clearly Lost via Domus.
Hold on to your hats, because I've got the only correct answer here. It's Sonic the Hedgehog 06, a game I have admittedly not ever played even a single time. But without that in mind, I don't need to, because it has the best plot in a video game ever. Sonic the Hedgehog, it's in the name, he's a hedgehog, he's blue, he's really fast, he's got big shoes. Who would he usually fancy, I hear you all ask? Another animal, probably, not necessarily a human woman, which this game, I have been told, is all about Sonic trying to court this lady who's a princess no less, probably for the inheritance money further on down the line, but apparently it's just about him running fast to shag a human woman. And I'm all for this and think this might be the best game ever. And the only way to realize that is in full 3D graphics, so you can see this in all of its glory. And I've been well informed that they do indeed kiss at the end. They kiss at the end, guys. And it's amazing. Sonic the Hedgehog 06 is true art, and we will never get better smut in our lifetime. But I'm all for Sonic's pursuit of the princess.
You heard it here first, folks. Josh Brown, advocate for bestiality.
Do your best impression of how you would make out with a hedgehog.
Okay.
Okay, so it's very romantic.
Oh, you're spiky.
I thought about it. Go on, go fast. Go on.